Well, let's get going, and then we'll get formal introductions. Get going. I am, as much as I despise Zoom prayers, we'll always start with prayer. So, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, Amen. I got this prayer for the youth from our Sunday bulletin the other day. Dear Lord, be with our young people this week and always. Keep them in your care. Help them to form godly friendships, speak the truth, and know you in the personal way that will guide, challenge, and shape them. Amen.
Amen.
In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. All right. So there are plenty of familiar faces on here, and there are some faces that we've never seen before, which is great. The Catholic National Athletic Association is not new, was never dead. We just kind of had to take a pause. And what I wanted to do, and Justin and I wanted to do, is, for lack of a better word, 24 is our return and kind of reconfigure. It's pleasing to see how many responses we got electronically and have enough people on the screen to kind of know that there's still a demand. I would just say this: one of the things that I think is going to help us move forward in life is that we have learned from the past. Some of you, I can tell you, were there with me in Lodi at Wine and Roses. Some of you are from the East Coast. Some of you from Colorado right now. So we have definitely had national response, but the mission is still the same, which is Catholic schools working with Catholic school administrators to be the best we can be. Now, when we first started, we never had this, right? Virtual and Zoom wasn't an option. We built into that. And then out of necessity, we had no choice at one point in time. But one thing I will always tell you is that I always appreciated everyone's camaraderie, willingness to share. But I felt like, and I was talking to Justin at the end of last semester, where everyone kind of had their first regular year last year, right? Classes, everything set, everything moving. And I know that we can move forward together. I also can tell you, many of you ask me, where is the CNA at, right? Where is it at? Vendors, partners, what are we doing? And I'll just speak transparently. I was pretty burnt after COVID and that year, just going back to normal. And I felt like it was a little bit of an awkward time to press things where people were just trying to rebuild, reconfigure, and get back to basics. But now I feel the world is in a better spot.
That's the guy from De La Salle.
So that's kind of where we're at today. If I was, the purpose of this call, quick overview, get some feedback, and launch and go. That's what we do. And I think you can always, if you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll get to it. But our goal is to get in and out in a timely fashion so that we don't waste your time. Okay. That first, Justin, so here's the deal. CNA still has a 501c3 in process going. Justin, some of you know him, is Play One, third party, sort of. The reality is there's no way we can have pretty slides and national events and different things without support on the back end, website, Zooms, podcasts. All those ideas can't happen without somebody doing something. Otherwise, we're not there yet, right? So that's where Justin comes in. He'll kind of explain his role as we go. But as we jump in, if you go to that first slide, hold on, let me get my screen set here. We are going on pace to kind of go where we're at and build off what we've done before. But I want to go slow to make sure things are happening. If I'm Kevin Butler and I'm sitting in the freezing cold in the East Coast somewhere, you're thinking, where's our next East Coast deal? The one thing that's not on here is a summer retreat for a national deal. We just want to bounce some ideas before we commit to stuff. So we're going to, for lack of a better word, run, walk. We're in a run, crawl, walk stage to return. We have to figure out some finances, figure out what people want. There are things that we have not had before, including, I think one of the things you noticed there on the third bullet point with the annual retreat, one of the things that a lot of people put in there was try to begin to unite coaches, not just athletic administrators. We had heard presidents wanted to get together with presidents, but unless I hear differently, I feel like a Catholic National Basketball Coaches Association and some different things like that would probably be solid in what people want and what I've been told. So we're going to expand a bit, but we're going to get a little bit slower the back half of spring, summer 24. And then we'll have a 24-25 plan based on what you guys actually want as well. So it's not just about what I want, not just about what you want, but we had done strength and conditioning in the past, so we'll have that. We had done athletic trainers in the past, so all the groups that people work with is the kind of the way we want to bring this back for everybody at this time. Does that make sense, everyone? Anyone have any questions? Okay. All right, moving on to the next. Justin, you got anything?
Yeah, I think just to continue to reiterate what Leo's saying is, the purpose, the mission of the organization is to give Catholic schools a voice when you deal with state associations and as you work, with events between one another and just best practices, because there are unique, aspects of managing Catholic athletic programs that are different than, for example, your counterparts at public schools. So, the mission of the CNA is to make available professional development resources, networking, group buying opportunities when you work with sponsors, and all of the things that come with, structuring the organization, which Leo has done such a fantastic job of over the years, especially on a grassroots level with virtually no budget. So I think I would just reiterate, hey, all of the reasons that you logged on to this call, they are intact, and we're putting together curriculum around content that is designed to create engagement between you all and just highlight the different topics that you want to hear, events that you want to hear, areas that you think are worth growing, and we want to facilitate that. So again, Leo kind of addressed it, but my role is that I execute your vision with digital marketing. We bring it together on platform, right, where you can register for the different events, submit topics of interest, reserve time to speak with sponsors if you're so interested, and just connect with each other. So again, my name's Justin Peterson, and appreciate being able to collaborate and kind of support Leo's vision with you all, and just make sure that it's a useful tool as we go through life on campus. So that's my background.
I would not be able to put together a PowerPoint presentation with these bubbles on the screen right now. I can tell you that much. I can fill the content in, but I couldn't put the bubbles. No animations for me. All right. So one of the things that I didn't mention, and a lot of you put in there, you want Catholic athletic events. So one of the missions that I will put back to you, and Justin will communicate out, there are already some great Catholic events that are taking place. Around the country that I've been aware of. Some are natural Catholic leagues. Some are not. One of the missions for me, for CNA, is to create, it could be as simple as the West Coast Catholic Girls Volleyball Championships hosted at, down in Southern California. Sponsors want to work with us on that. We want to create opportunity. We understand the value of Catholic versus Catholic school competition at all levels, overnights, going to dinner together, having mass together. That stuff is definitely I don't want to speak for Justin because I didn't look at all the numbers. It's almost like 7 out of 10 said, let's start getting together on a frequent basis. So if we can find funding for that, simplicity, bigger picture, we'll probably, I think on our website, we have a Games Wanted page too, that was on there as well. We're going to expand Catholic events, not just meetings. So just know that if you have an idea, so if Stephanie runs a great swim invitational and wants to go 16 all-girls Catholic schools, let's just say, those are things that CNA can probably do. I know for me, for golf, I think if we ran a national golf championship or golf tournament in somewhere warm in spring break, we would get 50, 60 Catholic schools on quickly. So we can do some great stuff. Those are some of the events and different things that we want to put together. We don't want to necessarily get in people's way, but it seems to me there's a demand to do some of those actions and activities. As Justin's kind of clicking through, the history of this place is we've had Catholic schools from multiple states, and we're going to continue to build off that. We all know that transition is every 1.4 national in administrators and coaches. So we're going to continue to connect. One of the biggest problems I have, and you can help us, connect us with the other Catholic administrators that are currently there. Stephanie's been around a while. I've been around. Chad has. Hank, but it's not necessarily the case that it's always the same folks. So knowing who's around and who Justin Peterson can contact will help us. Just connect us and we'll continue to connect the dots. LinkedIn, Justin, you want to talk about the LinkedIn page that we have too? If that can help us keep people connected, join that group. But other than that, we'll continue to blast and communicate the best we can. At some point in time, we'll have a solid directory. That's our goal too for 24-25. And as we expand with coaches, the coaches stuff, the vision would be now we have a basketball coaches directory, a swim coaches directory. We have all these directories with access for people to communicate with. All right. Those are just a list of some of the schools along the way. Obviously, it could be anybody. I mean, we'll keep moving through. So it just gives a picture of why we consider ourselves to be more than just a regional NorCal affiliation or SoCal or even East Coast. Trying to get to everyone participating in some way, in some capacity. As we're moving forward, go back one, Justin. The exact number of Catholic schools fluctuates every year. I don't know about your area, but I can tell you we lose Catholic grammar schools / Catholic high schools yearly, right? It's a sad state of affairs. Over the past years, those are the people we've reached out to. I do think there's a small pocket. Somehow I got roped into being my kids' CYO athletic director, right? So track, basketball, volleyball, you name it, right? I do believe there's a mission-driven part of me that knows that we need to help the youth and create youth events with our high schools. So I think along the line of events, that's something in the back of my mind, whether it be hosting track meets at Sarah High School because they have the facility. I know that for our survival, I think you would agree that we have to look at the level below us to continue to build the Catholic faith through athletics and to set up high schools in a better position. I don't have an answer, but if somebody really was like, I want to take the lead on that, those are things we could look into. But that's kind of where we're at. I also think we can help the CYO world where we can give our vendors their opportunity not to have to pay top dollar, teach the volunteers down there how to function without having to lose their minds and not want to do it anymore. So there is a component that has kind of resonated with me the last 12 months on how do we help the levels below us to help us at the high school and high school world. All right. So going to the next slide, and we're getting closer to the
real
end.
Quick. Stephanie asked a great question in the chat that helps your school and the CNA in general. But if you'd like your school featured on the CNA site, or your logo featured, or any additional information, email info@thecna.org, info@thecna.org, and I'll pump it in chat right here as well. Additionally, as we go along, please do pop any questions you have or suggestions you have in the chat. So what happens to this, meeting is that it's getting recorded and we review everything in the chat, okay? And we'll respond to that. And again, here we are in this call, and it's sort of we call it a steering call, just to point out the fact that, hey, Leo is re-engaging with the CNA and trying to regenerate all the enthusiasm that was there sort of leading up to COVID and just coming out of COVID, but in a focused way for 24-25. And so if we could ask anything of you, it's just open your emails, right? And respond, just engage in any way that you see fit, okay? So we're gonna talk about, I wanna just give you kind of a bird's eye view of the remaining agenda. And then we're gonna come back to School Funder, which is a really unique partner and a very useful partner in this day and age in digital fundraising at schools. And so we have Dennis Levine on the call, who's the CEO of School Funder, and he's gonna talk to us about what they can do for schools. But real quick before Dennis takes over, after he finishes, we're going to talk through the agenda points that were in the email. And what we'd like to do is open it up so that you all can give feedback and we capture what you want to hear. And so again, just to lead into this, it's going to be professional development topics, co-hosting athletic events, the annual retreat plan, which we have a semblance of what that looks like, but we can take input and adjust as you see fit. video podcast topics, Leo's Coaches Clinic, and then sponsor opportunities as well. Not for you all to sponsor, but just to brainstorm who would you like to work with? Who would you like the CNA to reach out to on your behalf and see if we can do something custom to get you all great value and engagement. So with that, Dennis, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Justin.
Okay.
Hello, Leo. Leo, thanks for having me today. Justin, everyone, nice to meet you all. Dennis Levine. I am the founder and CEO of SchoolFunder. SchoolFunder is a digital online fundraising suite designed purpose-built for school communities, particularly in athletics. I grew up on the East Coast, athlete through and through, played basketball at MIT, and afterwards have worked in a number of different industries, but a few years back identified a real need to provide more consistent funding for school communities so that students can reach their full potential. So we decided to build SchoolFunder, and kind of the 2 second of SchoolFunder is enabling students to raise more funds with less work and keeping what they raise so that they can reach their full potential, which I think is very aligned with the mission that you all come to work every day to achieve. And the way that we do that, the most important piece is that we do not take any split of the dollars that you raise. Days of students going door to door, asking for cash, buying products, keeping 30, 50, 70, 80% of the dollars that raise, I hope that are in the past. And the world of fundraising companies lining their pockets by taking 20 to 25% of every dollar that your students raise, to me is borderline criminal. And so we started SchoolFunder and offer best-in-class digital fundraising solutions, that enable your students to raise more funds, make it less work for your donors, less work for your parents, less work for you. We pair you with a fundraising expert that coaches and guides you along the way. And that last piece, you keep 100% of what you raise, less standard credit card fees, which on average Stripe charges 2.9% and 30 cents. So on average, our groups keep 97%. On the screen, you see an example from LaSalle Academy, Catholic School in Cincinnati. They leverage our platform to raise over $86,000. They get to keep over $85,000 of that after the credit card fees. Paramus Catholic, their wrestling team did a fundraiser up in the Northeast in my neck of the woods. They raised over $11,000 for new wrestling mats. So this is a resource that we're excited to bring to you and your programs and your schools. And this is something that you'd love to learn a little bit more. More than happy to make myself available to talk individually for you or anyone else that you think this might be helpful for as you move forward.
Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate that. And again, just to add a little bit more context, digital fundraising is widely accepted as something that's probably the easiest way to raise money. Now, at Catholic schools, obviously, you all have experience capital campaigns, working with alumni and tuition and different things. I think the big thing about SchoolFunder is that, in my experience, and some of you may have recall, I had a company that sold to GoFan, and GoFan digital ticketing became a very important piece of how operations work. But the big thing was it's saving time and reconciliation savings. So what Dennis and his team are doing at SchoolFunder, to me, is the next frontier of the big problem to solve on campus. And what they do is they do digital fundraising, participant-based, where the participants are collecting donations from their community via social media, email, things like that, but they are not taking any funds from the donations. What that means is they're a tip-based model. So instead of giving up 10, 20, 30% like schools do, working with some of the other competitors in the market, maybe an E-team sponsor, a SnapRaise, people like that, SchoolFunder is coming in with a best-in-class product. It's all tip-based, and you keep all the funds. So schools are signing up very swiftly, but want to make sure that you understand that this is a resource. And we put in Dennis' contact information there in the chat. So if you want to reach out to him directly, he's made himself available to you all. So with that, appreciate it, Dennis, so much, and SchoolFunder for helping us put together programs like this. So wanted to kick it back to you, Leo, if you could help us just open up the conversation about professional development topics. What do people want to hear? And make sure to comment here in the chat section if you have any recommendations, and we'll take them down.
All right. Well, being respectful of everyone's time, we will definitely have a hard stop in like 5 to 7 minutes. People can stay on if they choose to. Then I'll go with a quick overview. The success of this organization has always been the people that have been involved, and I really do appreciate everybody in the past and the future that will help. Whatever direction we go, I know one thing: it cannot be solely one person. And I know that Stephanie and others have been there like since Lodi, have heard that how do we expand, how do we get better? Now we're at that stage where we will get bigger and better, I think for the right reasons, and create some different things. But when people want to help and you have ideas, feel free to reach out, because I definitely know my limitations and my bandwidth, right, in terms of how to do this. This conversation can go any direction, and I'll just open up for anyone to talk as needed and just say what you think we should be doing, where you think we should be going. We have had podcasts. You can go on our website. We've had annual retreats. We have had never done coaches clinics. Sponsor opportunities have definitely been there. I mentioned briefly touch on co-hosting athletic events. We definitely need, when you get that retreat, I know some of your state associations have like 30, 40 people on a committee planning a national retreat. We're probably going to have to get closer to more than party of 2 or 3 on that. So we don't have to go too in depth, and I don't want to make it so singular that it kind of drowns out. But at minimal, I wanted to start the conversation to say, what do you guys want? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And we'll go from there. So the floor is open to anybody, really. Or you can just chat and just be checking emails on the side. I totally get that too.
I'll go ahead and start. Hi, Leo. Thank you for everything you've done for this organization. I've been in it for a long time before COVID, and it was really, really great. The one thing that I like that everybody probably could use coming back now and maybe next year or future is to have one of our professional developments like we did in LA. We were down at the Sheraton for 2 days, I think a day and a half, right, Leo?
Yep, roughly.
And just, we put some topics out there and we had a lot of sharing. And I think that's the most important thing, is sharing and networking with each other. And then Leo had a couple of sponsors for us. And so that was fun, but it just get to know people. And really, I might be dealing with the situation that another school on the East Coast may be dealing with, or, just certain situations or certain topics. And it was a lot of fun for all of us. And I hope we can do one of those, because it would be great to do a little athletic directors retreat for all of us.
Yeah, that's so in theory, we're trying to do a quick, smaller one, probably Northern California based in the spring here. But I don't want to speak for Justin, because there's some finances that we have to still work out, right? But their goal would be to do one in the summer or fall, depending on timing, for national level, so people can plan 2 to 3 or 4 months out in advance. But if you want to be on that committee, Stephanie, you can just let us know, and I will log you in, and we will begin to plan.
Yeah, definitely. I'll put my name down. Absolutely.
And to add, couple points, Stephanie, thanks for throwing that out there. We're gonna send a survey to everybody on this call after the event, and it's gonna have the ability to register for those type of opportunities. So if you're serious about it, again, you're not signing your life away in blood or anything like that. It's just the idea, hey, can we chat about this? What is your thought, right? And by completing the survey, just like you all did to get on this call, it'll give us the right direction and tone to accomplish what you want. Another comment, Matt Nelson had the suggestion, creating mission alignment for off-campus coaches. That's a huge topic as more and more folks actually employ off-campus coaches. But the idea of how do we create mission alignment. So just wanted to shout that out. But that's a great suggestion for professional development topics, and we will explore that. Thanks, Matt. So any other professional development topics that you all would be interested in addressing?
Or any events or anything you guys would like to see us try. That's kind of where we're at, and then we'll just move forward. Tom. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think so. I guess maybe the one thing with me was just a difficult parent discussion. Maybe try to put that on as an agenda item.
Perfect. Well, like I say, we'll get. I just, before we go too deep, I just would thank everyone for coming on here. I mean, I got to see Jeff in Southern California, and sometimes I get to see other people along the way. So it's good to know that there's a demand and need and want for this. That was really the purpose of this exercise, to move us back forward. What I'm gonna commit to doing with you is kind of coming up with a one-pager that I'll work with Justin, saying, here's what we heard, here's where we're planning to go. Let us know. I mean, the last thing I want to do is put effort in for others it's not really received or wanted, right? And I'm also going to ask for help. You know what? You know the old Catholic adage, those who do more. So that's, and we're all sitting at our desk going, I don't know if I can do more, but I'll try. But I do remember why this happened, and I'll finish with this. This happened because there is a true demand and uniqueness to our jobs. And when there's not, for lack of a better word, there's more of the others than there are Catholic schools, especially as we go forward every year. So if we can do one thing better every time we meet to get our schools in a better position for survival, that kind of motivates me. And I know that that's why people want to get together. We'll do some cool stuff. I just, for lack of a better word, thank you. This is the relaunch. You know what I mean? We're just going to go back. We were in neutral for a bit. Now we're going to go back into fifth gear. And so participation in itself would be support, communication, replying, and attending when can. I think the coaches stuff and athletic events is going to make this association move faster than I probably want to, but I can see it happening. I can see St. Ignatius saying, hey, we'd be happy to host a Christmas JV basketball tournament for 16 teams and all Catholic. And I could see us getting 2 to 3 sponsors saying, hey, we'll pay for this, or we'll cover hotel. I mean, so I can see this going in a direction faster than I'm probably prepared for. But I would tell you, I guess at this point in my career, it's something that I think we all should get involved in, but I promise you that I will get back in the saddle a little bit to help lead. There will be a board that's going to be needed at some point in time. There's going to be subcommittees that are going to be needed at some point in time. Some of your football coaches, basketball coaches, maybe if you could talk to them and say, hey, would you be interested in helping Leo out, helping putting coaches clinics together? I mean, a Catholic school lacrosse clinic in the summer, overnight somewhere, probably goes. You know what I mean? It probably is something people would say, that sounds really cool. Because you could probably tie it in with summer lacrosse competition opportunities as well. Maybe there's 8 to 12 schools summer lacrosse tournament with a coaches clinic around there. Maybe it's at Notre Dame. Who knows? I mean, we all know that our options are probably limitless. Our effort and time and energy's got a ceiling, which is why the more people we can get together, I think the more it's going to move. I'll finish one last thing, and then Justin and others can go. I've never heard anyone say this is a dumb idea. By all means, right now, tell me it's a dumb idea. And I don't get paid enough to go down dumb idea road. So if it's not something you want and you don't want us to pursue, I get it. We can do other things. But until someone says, Leo, you should probably not go down that road, I'll keep pushing as best I can. You have my commitment on that note. Seeing no one say it's a dumb idea, I thank you in advance for me losing sleep and getting a little extra stress along the way, but my commitment is there. The floor is open, and obviously it's 11:30, and I want to be respectful of people's time. It's 11:30 this time. It's 2:30 if you're on the East Coast and other places in between. So I'll move forward. I will stay on. Justin will stay on. You'll get further communication. But on behalf of Dennis, thank you for helping a little bit to begin to get us to get moving in the right direction, and we will follow up. So thank you. If anyone wants to stay on, like I said, I'll stay on with Justin. Justin, if you could take this, there you go. Justin, will you make sure to send that PowerPoint back out to everybody?
Yes.
Cool. Good to see you, Adam. Where's your Jared Goff?
Yeah, sorry, we blew it last night.
No, you didn't.
But at least he had a good game.
You did. It's cool having pros.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yep. Hank and Joy, good to see you guys. Who would have thunk? 5 years later.
It's been a while, Leo.
Yeah. Shutdown happened. That was the thing.
I know. Yeah.
You doing good? How are you?
All right, Got a picture of St. John Baptist El on your wall. I need one of those.
Yeah, you do. I'll send you one.
I think if we don't have one on our campus, we got bigger problems. Trust me.
True. I don't want to.
Sorry, Leo. I was coming from class because I teach this athlete leadership class, but any thoughts on any sort of student leadership? I don't know, almost like a SAC, like how they have in college. Catholic student athletes, bring them together, leaders, captains, counts. I don't know. I think we have some pretty awesome leaders on our different campuses, and maybe it's just them picking each other's brains. I don't know if it's a retreat or if we're able to say across the board, CNAA, captains at member schools are that's my thought.
Can I ask you a weird question? Do you think within the national of the group that would be better on a quick Zoom to see if people, like when I say that, like it would be, you'd obviously have the athletic administrators and then you'd have a captain, let's just say one, to see who would even come on and just kind of, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I know that like, yeah, if you're talking the Oakland Diocese, that's fine, right? That's not the issue. But it's like connecting LA to Colorado to whatever with different ideas and different purpose. Maybe it's a monthly sort of podcast led by, what I'm saying is, I don't think you're off. I actually think, I don't want to speak for Hank or Adam or even myself, but like, I think that'd be pretty cool if we created like one student athlete per school and there's a panel, and I think there's definitely some things to that. I just think locally, no problem. I could do that because I can drive to you. And but I think if we did it on Zoom, would that be received? I think it might actually, because people are used to Zooming now, and they can function.
Yeah,
might not be a bad idea, honestly. Like that's pretty good, dude. Actually, I like that.
Yeah, and I guess it's figuring out like how much it serves the organization, and I mean it for sure serves the kids because then they're going to college saying, "Hey, I represented this region or my school on this level talking about student athlete advocacy issues or whatever." Like that's great for them. Also, if the time is right, whenever, I'm happy to share with folks, what we did here to create the leadership class that is, part of the class period. That's obviously something that private schools have a little more leeway in terms of creating an elective. So I'm happy to share like the proposal that I put together a few years ago and just how we do it. If there's any school that would be interested in presenting that to, their admin or whatever, if they want to have a leadership class, like whenever, I'm happy to.
Whether live or on Zoom, I appreciate it because I think we're all struggling to find ways to create on-campus leaders that can move the needle for us. Like I said, our bandwidth is only so much. Okay, that's awesome. I took notes, and I know Justin's listening, so I'm sure he's taking notes. Cool. Perfect.
Cool. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and obviously looking forward to the social with you all in a couple months.
But I think we'll be able to get, I think my gut is we might be able to pull something in. It'll have to be local for NorCal folks. I think we should, I haven't convinced Justin Peterson, but I think at minimum we should try to do a one-day deal, like on a Monday or Tuesday somewhere. Even if it's 5 to 10, 20 schools, and I think if we do that, it'll kind of like springboard. See, Hank, I think it'll help springboard getting some things in motion. You agree, Adam? If we just try to get 10 people together, 10 schools.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Something local, and then are you thinking before the conference in San Diego?
I'm thinking in March. Just kind of say, guys, 6 weeks from now, let's see if we can get 5 to 20 schools. I mean, you have the WCAL, you have your 3 to 4 or 5 in up north. You know what I mean? There's enough to where you would think if half said yes for one day. You know what I mean? And we did it like we're an hour and a half driving distance max for everybody. People would meet. We could talk about, really, we could probably just title it contemporary, like what's going on in Northern California Catholic schools, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's great to just kind of get together and talk and meet and stuff like that. That's one of the, I think I get a lot out of that. So
Yeah, so I'll work with Justin and we'll see what's up. But as long as, like, me and you both know, if 10 of us got together even for 3 hours in the morning, we probably could feel good, serve our kids 3 topics or something like that, and move forward. All right.
Great. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here.
Perfect.
Good to
Thank
see
you
you,
for
Leo.
jumping on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.